1, 2, 3, 4.
What's going on, everybody? It's Dot Bets. We're checking back in. We are finally back. We got the FedEx playoff stream as we are going to take over the St. Jude Championship. We got 125 of the best PGA Tour players coming at you, and we are going to dissect it piece by piece. As always, I'm here with the one and the only at Teaser Nation. How are we feeling tonight, man?
Good. I'm glad to be back. Coming off a bad week last week, so hopefully we can, right the ship for the playoffs. I'm excited for this one. I like this course, so getting in the playoffs a little bit. Mr. Irrelevant Ricky Fowler made it 125, so right on the number.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of hope he plays well. Obviously, it's going to be hard for him to move on. He's going to have to probably get a top 10, I would say, maybe even win.
He's going to have to do well.
Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, though. I'm glad we're back. It's been, a long time, almost a month now. So,
I was going to say, people, I had a couple people plug us and say, oh, yeah, they have a good podcast. And I was like, well, we haven't gone on for about 2 or 3 weeks, and we'll be back. Obviously, I think we'll be able to do this again next year as well.
Yeah,
but
100%.
Yeah, and we got a lot of great feedback. And as always, we are going to dissect outrights tonight, top 20s, top 40s. And if you guys have any matchups or first-round leader questions, let us know. And then we will dive into some DFS. So I know we had some people in the Discord asked to go over who we thought, for some chalk plays, sleeper plays, and some value plays. So we'll throw you guys some analysis on that. But yeah, if you guys do have a comment, make sure if you guys are tuning in on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. As you guys can see below, if we get to 100 subscribers on the YouTube channel, we'll give you away $100. So I'm trying to get to that before NFL season. And as always, before, we're going to have the Sunday NFL show at Sidekick Picks, brought to you by Props.cash. So we are going to be in full force come football season. And I hope you guys tuned into the podcast that we are throwing together. So you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and as always, the video podcast on YouTube. All right. Teaser, you want to lead off and just talk about the course, talk about maybe some attributes and stats you're most likely going after this week?
Yeah. So firstly, I'll just whoever's and I do a VIP with Hammering Hank now. So if you want to get my card, I'll sign up for that. I'll just be talking about a couple players I like this week. I won't kind of necessarily mention what I'm taking them in. So yeah, just a little tidbit there. So just getting in the course, it's called TPC Southwind. It's in Memphis. We don't really get to kind of go to that part of the country that often in the PGA Tour season. So it's a nice little switch up for the playoffs here. It is a par 70. There's only 2 par 5s, I believe, 4 par 3s, 12 par 4s. It's actually kind of a relatively small course, 7,200 yards. So it's like kind of one of those, just like Pebble Beach, I would say, is a comp course. Some of the TPCs, I would say TPC Sawgrasses, TPC Scottsdale, and Harbortown as well. Just kind of, positional course like the TPC courses are usually, there to do. There's a big weighing on off the tee this week. Fairways gained as well. That's why one guy I'll mention later on is solely the reason course history and fairways gained is the reason why I'm taking him. So yeah, I would basically say if you're, starting a model this week, I would kind of look off the tee and guys who are hitting the fairway. It's a relatively positional course, like I said. So that's kind of a, overview of where we're going with this course. Past winners, Answer won last year in a playoff against Burns, Justin Thomas in 20 and Koepka in 19. So, that's different types of players there a lot of different types of players can win here. So it's all over the place. So we'll see what happens this week. But
yeah, and I saw that there's a good amount of water hazards as well. So be on the lookout for people, aka Ricky Fowler, who love to
Yeah.
hit it into the water. So that's something you're trying to avoid. And then also the greens are a little smaller than normal as well, and they're a little bit more hilly. And they roll off. So I'm looking a little bit more at scrambling too. I think that's one of the attributes I'm gonna go after. But obviously my number one is strokes gained approach, and then I'm gonna go total driving and strokes gained around the green, kind of go hand in hand with the scrambling. And then lastly, if I have to make a decision between somebody, I'm gonna go with birdies made because I think it's still gonna be a low score that wins this. I'm thinking anywhere minus 14-ish and above or below.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Especially when you got 125 of the best in the business going at it. It's going to be very, very competitive. I think the cut is 65 for this one, and then the next 2 weeks there isn't a cut because it's only top 70 after this week. So if anybody's thinking about that, what do you call it? Formation of how it all works for these next 3 weeks. So yeah, if you guys do have any questions, we're going to go, I'll give out my, some of my card, and then I'll also tweet it out after the fact. Teaser will briefly maybe just mention some guys that he's on. As always, go find his picks with Hammer and Hank's VIP. So the first guy that I'll start out with, and I think I'm going to have a majority. I think he's in 45% of my lineups that I've made so far. 35%. He's still my highest allocated guy on DFS. It's going to be Matthew Fitzpatrick. Just absolutely, I mean, he's kind of cooled off from that little hot stretch that he's had. However, he's still one of the better golfers in this entire PGA. So, course history here, he's finished 57th, 6th, 4th, and then 48. I do think he fits very, very well here with his game. I think he can get an outright at plus 1,400. Not the best number that I've seen on Fitzpatrick. I think I've seen 16s and 18s out there. But where I got
14 on him too. That's kind of insane. But
yeah, that's what I got to play at 14. So next guy will go Burns at plus 3,000. Then same deal here. I think his course history and his game suits this course very, very well. And then lastly, Shane Lowry as my plus 3,500 outright. Didn't want to go extremely crazy here. I've seen people take, Thigala. I've seen people take, some Connors and some crazy guys. I don't think it's going to be necessarily a crazy outright that gets this done.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I had to pick a chalk outright, I'd maybe end up leaning like Justin Thomas, who's won this thing twice, 2 out of the 4 times that I think he's played. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with Thomas as well. But I know we were mentioning somebody before the stream. Do you want to mention that guy? Do you think could get an outright?
Yeah, you should actually put him on there actually for a little bit. You know where I'm going with this. 2 guys actually.
2 guys.
Maybe Horschel and Reavie. We'll talk about Reavie a little later. That's who you're talking about, right?
Oh, I was going to take Horschel.
Yeah, Horschel too.
Yeah,
it was one of the 2, but Reavie for different matters. But yes, Horschel. I'll actually just mention this guy because that's kind of a mid-tier guy. I'll get him at 50 to 1, so I like that number on him. Yeah, he is, like we said, he has great course history here. It's weird because it's in Memphis, the course, but it has like a Florida type atmosphere to it with the Bermuda, and we all know that Billy loves his Gators. He's a Florida man.
Yes,
so
sir.
He always produces there. Not going to mention. I know you'll probably talk about him for the placements, but he has some good value there as a top 20 as well. So I like him as well. Kind of maybe target him in matchups as well, against those mid-tier guys. So yeah, I like him as well. And then I would mention even that's my one flyer. I would say Reavie as like one of the long shots. I would say I'm not too big in the big tournaments taking long shots because always the cream of the crop really rises to the top in these occasions, just kind of like majors type thing. But I mean, Reavie, man, we'll talk about him a little more, but the course history is insane. I could see maybe a top 10 or something, maybe have him in contention there. So I think he's 7 to 1 top 10. I don't know if I'm going to take that, but that's pretty solid value there. So yeah, that's a couple guys. And then I'll kind of just name a couple more you could maybe look at for outrights. I would say one guy I'm maybe looking at this week is Scheffler. I saw a 16-1 on him somewhere, and I believe he started at like 18-1, which is kind of crazy. He isn't obviously he really cooled down since
Yep.
his hot streak there in the spring. But I believe last year he was in the final group or second to last year, and he just blew up. That was before he knew how to win. I think he shanked one, I believe, in the final group. I believe the ninth hole. I don't remember, but yeah, he came in 14th last year. He has a fifth as well, or a 15th and a 14th the last 2 years. So he's always going to be in contention the way he's playing this year. I do think he's going to get another win this year. I'm going to call it. Maybe it's going to be the FedEx because he's number one in the FedEx Cup, but maybe
he might. Yeah.
So that's one guy I'm targeting. And then this guy, I honestly, as of right now, I'm not sure why. Like, I want to go back to the well with this guy. It's just the number they're really hanging for him is Rahm at 22-1. But realistically, the way it is, like, it's actually a good number. Like, you would think that's a little high for him, but the way the guys in front of him are playing, like, who are lower on the board than him, it's kind of a good number where he's at in his game wise. He hasn't really played for a while since the Open, just like a couple other top players, but I mean, I really like him here. Obviously, he's always going to be top 5 off the tee. He's always going to be, I mean, driving distance isn't much here, but yeah, I mean, if you look at his model, he's third in the model. Ball striking is always there. It's just a matter of, making putts for him. And his honestly, his short game has been kind of horrific this year, but I think he can, play well here and contend. And then another guy you were talking about, I'm actually big on, which I'm never usually big on this guy, is Burns. Everyone kind of knows if you kind of watch the podcast, I'm never too big on him. And when I am going in on him, he plays bad. So we'll see. Hopefully.
Great.
Yeah. So I know. Great. We'll see. But he did have, if you're really looking for one guy this week, I would say he kind of fits the mold for this course the best.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, he came runner up to Answer in that playoff. I believe strokes gained around the green. He gained 5. He gained putting. He gained in all aspects. He gained 13 total. So he's kind of a guy that's steady. He's going to be there in contention as well. I do think it's a great course fit for him. And then finally, just another guy we kind of mentioned already is Billy Horschel. Don't really need to go too much more into him. It's just kind of the Florida atmosphere here for him. The Bermuda, he loves that, and the great course history. So those are really kind of the guys I would maybe target in the outright. I wouldn't say I'm taking all those guys or placement as well. Yeah, so if you want to get in your top 20s, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll just piggyback right now into Billy Horschel. So he's going to be top 20, plus 170, a full unit on him. 6 of 9 times that he's played at this course, he has finished in the top 20 in the the last 9 years. So he absolutely, I was talking about this in the Discord. It's more of a comfort course for him. Everything suits his game. So high, very, very high on Billy. If you want to go ahead with this outright, I wouldn't blame you one bit. He's going to be probably my second or third highest exposure behind Fitzpatrick this week. So I'll have a lot of Fitzpatrick Horschel builds in DFS. So if you guys are looking maybe kind of like anchor strategy in DFS, go ahead with those two and kind of build around them. Then we got Colin Morikawa at plus 150. We were talking before stream. You never, ever really see this number with Colin. But I think if we get Colin of old, maybe he's worked on his swing, fixed his swing, whatnot. I really don't. I mean, you could go ahead and take this guy's outright as well if you wanted to. I'm not going to. I really like this plus 150 number.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the value lies in the top 20. Don't end up.
I agree with that. I'm just going to piggyback off that. That's one guy I did want to mention is Morikawa. It's like they're really hanging that 35-1 outright in front of your face. I think it's one of those things where they just want you to take that. I don't think he's going to win. I do, like you said, the plus 150 is actually a great bet, top 20, because I don't think we'll really get. I mean, if he wins or gets like a top 10 here, we're not getting that number next week, right? Or obviously because there's 70 players, but we haven't really seen a plus 150 on Morikawa in like a year and a half. I would say maybe 2 years since he's came onto the tour. So yeah, I
And-
think the value's there, and also tournament matchups if anyone does that, because he's going to be plus money to a
Yep.
lot of the big players. So if you want to fade another big guy, he's in the tournament matchup section as well.
Yeah, and you can see here his kryptonite's been his putting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
and you can see right in here the model, everything is pretty damn decent, and then boom,
Yeah.
putting is just horrific, which can change like that. So that is week to week, minute to minute. Just that's someone's putter can get hot for them. I'm gonna trust Colin. I'm gonna go back to him, and we're gonna go ahead and get that top 20. And if you guys want to take the outright, you can go right ahead. Then my last top 20 that I'll give out here is Zalatoris. I know I know Teaser doesn't like Zali too much. I have a feeling he could end up, man, even getting top 5. He's going to be another guy that I have a lot of for DFS. He's kind of pricey with ownership. He's got like at 18% right now. He's probably the third or fourth highest. It comes well deserved. I mean, he's almost won several different tournaments this year, several different majors. I mean, why not start out with the first FedEx Cup playoff and just make a statement and go ahead and win it? I'm not going to say he's going to have an outright. I really like the plus 100 here at the top 20. I'm going to do a full unit on that. The Morikawa one, I'm going to do a half unit. But the Zali and the Horseshoe, I'm doing a full unit there. So really, really like the top 20 card is my favorite.
It's actually funny though, because I'm like shitting on Will Zalatoris, but like if you he's always the past couple of weeks he hasn't been in contention, but he got a 21st last week and a 20th 2 weeks ago. So it's like
He's there.
I mean, he cast a T20 there. So it's weird, man. I don't know. I just can't. There's some players where I just can't get a grasp on anymore, and he's one of them. I mean, he's a great player, but I just don't know. He's either right there and he's going to lose, or he's going to kind of backdoor a T20. So I guess I wouldn't mind that T20 at plus 100. I don't know. I guess he deserves to be plus 100, but you can never get me to take Zalatoris at plus 100, although he probably will backdoor it or something like that. But
yeah, and I mean, he's played this course before and he finished 8th.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I mean, I'm just going to roll with him. And the model likes him. I think he's top 10 in the model. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So let's talk about these two guys at the top of the model that we have not discussed, Finau and Rory. I'm not fading these two. When it comes to DFS, I'm just going to be underweight of the field. So Finau's projected 23% and Rory's projected close to 20%. So very, very heavy guys, ownership-wise, very heavy. I mean, Finau 9.7 is a joke on DFS because he should be 5 digits or so. So he's going to absolutely kill his ownership. Mainly for me in DFS, I just want to be underweight. I want to see if I can get somebody else and get a different lineup and be a little bit more unique without Finau and Rory in the same lineup together, or maybe wrap him with somebody else. So that's my only complaint with Finau and Rory. You can't complain on their recent form. You can't complain on anything that they've done this entire season. They've absolutely been phenomenal. I'm a big Tony Finau guy, and I missed his 2 outrights of the year. So
I mean, you couldn't take him though. He was 14-1 in both. There's no way. Like it's like congrats to him, but there's no value there. But yeah, I agree. I'm just never been a McIlroy Finau like better because obviously McIlroy the whole year. I've never found value in something that like his top 20 is always minus. His like top 10's plus 110. I'm a firm believer not to take that ever. So even if he's top 10ing every time he tees it up, but it's always stress to take a plus 110 top 10. But yeah, I'm staying away.
Yeah.
Maybe I was honestly thinking fading Finau in matchups because you can get some guys that are top tier at plus money to him now because of his recent form. So that's the way I look at it. Maybe a pivot. I'm not a big DFS guy, but whoever's watching, maybe a pivot is Hovland at that price.
Oh, I was so glad you said that.
Yeah,
Love that.
He always finds water hazards as well, but I don't know, something about him this week. He played well at the Open, I guess. That's kind of what we have to go off of. But yeah, I think he would be a decent pivot. He does show up in big moments, so I think he's a pretty decent pivot there if you want to do that. Just looking at the board. And then I just wanted to mention one other guy who's more of a mid-tier guy is Neiman. I think he's flying under the radar this week. Yeah, I do. Whenever he flies under the radar, that's when he like comes out and actually plays pretty well. I think he had a 17th year last year. I would say, I don't know, he hits the ball pretty long, but I mean he's a pretty decent fit for this course as well. Just kind of looking at it. Yeah, so I would say maybe his top 20 is like 2-1 as well. You can get him around there.
I was just gonna say that's the best bet. That's the best bet for him. Yeah,
I'm actually thinking about it. I haven't even thought about it, so I might put that on my card as well. I do think once he flies under the radar, I think that's when he comes out and plays well. So that's one guy to watch. I think is gonna
right, and distance definitely helps at this course. And he's got that. So
right.
Why? I mean, if as long as his strokes around the green is very, very well as very, very good as well. So if he puts it together, I can definitely see him competing. And that top 20 at plus 190 is very juicy.
Yep.
Man, you might talk me into playing him in my card. He's in my player pool for sure. He's one of those guys that I think you hit on the dot there, where he's just a little bit under-owned. He's not being discussed.
Mm-hmm.
And then, boom, he can kind of go up that leaderboard. So I really, really like that play as well. So I'll round out the top 40 for me real quick. I won't go into too much detail. These guys, basically, I'm pivoting these guys with my DFS ownerships. So Siwoo Kim, Lahiri, and Reevy. I like all three of those guys. Kim, I was on the wrong Kim last week. I should have been on Tom Kim. However, I was on Siwoo Kim on his outright and top 20. He burned me. I think he ended up 31st or something like that. He came back a little bit, but then he faded. But I'm going to be back on him for top 40. He's played this course before 3 times. He's got a 65th, a 10th, and a missed cut. So he's got the ability. He's got a top 10 here. I'm going to give him a pass for what happened last week, and we're going to go that route. And then Lahiri, I put that in the Discord last week. He was one of those guys that could shoot up the leaderboard and be under-owned. And I think he's still being under-owned this week. He's at 1% on DFS for DK lineups. So if you want someone under 5%, he is your guy. At plus 160 for a top 40 finish with a 1% ownership. I think that correlates pretty well. I really, really like that play. And then Reevy, teaser is you like him as well. His course history is right up there with Billy's. He's got a 6th, a 27th, a 6th, a 4th, a 12th, and a 27th. I mean, it's right up there, if not better than Billy's Horschel's. So you can. I'm going to go a full unit there at plus 110 for the top 40.
So. Yeah, I like Reevy a lot as well. We kind of mentioned it obviously already. I mean, the fairways gain is just kind of what I'm going off of, and the course history. He's number 1 in fairways gain, so he's always putting himself in position, and especially with the the par 4s that are the strongest part of the course. That's kind of where he's going to make his money. He doesn't have to rely on birding 4 par 5s because there's not 4. So
yeah, exactly.
That's when those kind of smaller guys get an advantage here at these type of courses. And then just throwing out names for everyone just to kind of give people ideas. I would say it's kind of more of the Reevy type here is Russell Henley. He doesn't really have great course history here. He hasn't played here since like 17, but I was on him the last 2 weeks. He had a 10th and a 5th, so he's coming in playing well. This is
Recent
another
form, yep.
This is another course where it's actually kind of like the Wyndham from last week. So he always plays well there. He's also that type of guy where he thrives on these kind of smaller courses. He's like a Webb Simpson Jr. He said, when Webb was kind of in his prime, this is where he feasts on these type of courses. So I would definitely say Henley, not as an outright, obviously, because he's not winning, but honestly, he's top 20. I don't even know if plus 190 is worth it. I have that. I don't actually know. Maybe tournament matchups I am in, but I would say definitely in the maybe placement or tournament matchup range because he's obviously not winning. So
right, yeah. So what's let's go towards the DFS. I know you don't do too much with the DFS, but I want to pick your brain to see if you like these guys.
Okay.
So here are my sleeper plays, or guys that maybe I'm targeting that you shouldn't be or whatnot. So two other guys that I'm going to do three. So you're probably going to say you like this guy because this is your guy, Tom Hoagie.
Oh, dude, I was going to say, I'm not even kidding. That's the first thing that came into my head. Before you started, I was going to say, does one start with an H?
Yeah.
His last name. I was literally going to say that.
He comes with risk. He comes with a shit ton of risk.
Oh, yeah.
I think we were on him a couple weeks ago when he missed like a million cuts in a row, and then all of a sudden I had a top 40. Yeah.
And then he got fourth. Yeah.
Yeah. Some stupid finish. Yeah. And then
I like him, man. He's plus 400 to top 22. I mean, it's one of those things. I guess he's kind of a risk, but one of my main comp courses was Pebble Beach, and he won there this year. So if you're going to go off comp courses, go ahead. So
he's under 5% owned, and he's at 6,800 on DraftKings. So you put him in. I mean, if he's at 4% right now, you put him in a couple of your lineups, and they get a little bit different. That's how you shoot up those leaderboards there. Yeah. The other guy is Keith Mitchell. I've seen a lot of him this week,
I've seen a lot as well. Yeah,
and it's for good reason. And the fact that I've seen him and still his ownership is below 5% intrigues me even more, because I feel like people are just reading over him or looking past him. So in that aspect, give me all of Keith Mitchell. He's got a 39 and a 37th here. So top 40 if you want to go with him. I'm solely going him for DFS this weekend. And then the other guy for my sleepers is Taylor Moore, and he's coming right. Yeah, he's coming in with great recent form. He's never played here before, but he's got a 56th at the Travelers, 24th at John Deere, 21st at Barbasol, 6th at Rocket Mortgage, and a 5th at Wyndham. So, I mean, at 6,800, he's coming in with a little bit more ownership. He's at 6%. So not technically, I usually do sleepers at 5% or below, but he's right there on the cusp and he's cheap, that I'm gonna roll with him at 6,800 with Taylor Moore. So those three, you guys can kind of piece around some of those bigger. You could piece around Thomas. You can piece around Zalatoris. Some guy that a lot of people are on is Sungjae M again.
Yeah.
And then obviously if you want to go Finau and Rory to pair them with, or a Scheffler, so you guys can go that route. But
I like that one. That was a good one from you right there. That was really good, because that recent form, man, is crazy.
It's stupid. Yeah,
I was watching him last week. He's looking confident. So I think, that's definitely a great play. I'm going to throw one more guy, Kitayama.
Oh.
So, I don't know where he's at in the percent range there, but
Let's see where he's at.
He's a guy that just shoots up whenever,
Yama. And if we've not mentioned somebody that you guys have a question on or whatnot that you guys are thinking about putting in your lineups, we'll be here for probably like 5 more minutes. So throw that if you're on YouTube or Twitch, throw them in the comments, and we will go ahead and answer them on stream. So or if you guys want, join the free Discord, and we'll go from there. Where is he at? He's at 3%. So I definitely could see him 3% there. We did forget to mention Matsuyama did withdraw this morning. So if you guys do have him in any of your lineups already that you've maybe built, get him out of there. He did withdraw, I think, with a neck injury or so. And then I'm going to talk 2 more guys real quick. 2 more guys before we get out of here.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Hatton and Homa. So, and I've circled all 3 of these guys, and I've circled Horschel, Hatton, and Homa, because I think I'm gonna anchor those 3 in several lineups, and then I'm gonna also have Fitzpatrick and Horschel in some lineups. But I'm gonna have a mixture of those 4 in a majority of mine. So if you guys are kind of constructing lineups, that's kind of a different way I would approach it. maybe set a couple guys as anchors and put them as a little bit higher ownership, and then piece it together. If you have an optimizer that you're using, let that thing run around those guys and see what it does. And if anybody does need an optimizer, hit me up with the link with Occupy Fantasy, especially if you guys are getting ready for the NFL season for DFS. So if you guys do need any help with the optimizer, hit my DMs on Twitter. We'll plug you up with the Occupy Fantasy as well. But no, Hatton and Homa, I mean, really, really good course history as well. And they both come in right at 10%. So you're right in that range where not getting too much ownership, and they could potentially even be single digits. And if you get single digits on one of those two, they have the ability to take home top 5 or even win the whole damn thing. With the way Hatton has come around with his game, and Homa's faded a little bit, but I'm still looking at the big picture here, and Homa's done a very, very good job this season. You got any other final thoughts about the week? Maybe somebody you were wanting to fade or just be away from completely?
One guy we didn't talk about, that KH Lee, Mr. TPC. So it's always a top 40 guy. You can always, go about. I don't think he's played here. Or he probably did last year because he won, but to get into here. But yeah, I would just say that's always a good bet just because it's literally 3 letters TPC. He plays well. So yeah, that's one guy. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of, I really don't know who to fade. Like, I feel like all the top guys are going to not necessarily be all in contention, but I think most of them will be there.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one guy, I don't know. I would stay away not like fade McRoy. I guess he's going to play well. Justin Thomas probably plays well. Xander, I don't know, man.
It's tough to fade somebody this week, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you should necessarily fade people. I think you should just play people you like. And if you're doing matchups, just kind of go off of like someone you like better than that other guy. I don't think there's necessarily like a big fade that I'm going to go with. I would say my favorite play of the week is Burns. That's my one. We'll go with a favorite play, and that's Burns. So he'll probably miss the cut. So we're just going to say it right now. Who's your favorite play, you think?
My favorite play is definitely Fitzpatrick. I think he checks all the boxes for me this week. Second favorite play is Billy Horschel, but that's everybody's top guy. So, if you're going to pair him with somebody in your lineups that's a little bit lesser owned to maybe just get a little bit more unique. And then,
actually, hold up. I have one fade. I forgot about this guy. Cam Young.
Cam Young. There you go.
Like Team Young, man. I was a sad day today. He's going to live golf. That's not necessarily why I'm fading him. I just think he's been playing a lot of golf. He's going to be a little burnt out, but also he just check. I'm not going to say who he's against because I don't want to give it away, but check tournament matchups. You'll find out why I'm going to be fading him in a tournament matchup. But yeah, I think that's my one fade. I hate to fade him, but he pissed me off today. So
love it. And the other Cam we have not mentioned on the stream is Cam Smith. I'm going to stay away from him on the betting side. He is low owned in my DFS, but if you wanted to get completely different, he is a player obviously that can go ahead and win this damn thing and shut up all the haters of all the live talk and everything like that. If you want to go that narrative with it, I think he's coming in around 12%. So
yeah,
if you get him with single digits, that's scary.
It's not even about live for me. I got my win with him at the Open. I'm content. I don't need to bet him right now, so I'm happy with how much I've won on him this year. So he's always going to be one of my favorite players because of how much money he won me. So.
I agree. I agree with that. So, all right, that does it for the live show for the FedEx St. Jude's Championship. If you guys do have any additional questions, make sure you hit up me or Teaser on Twitter at our respective handles. We appreciate you guys tuning in. And also, if you have any other questions, join the free Discord, and we will be there all night long. And we'll see you guys later.
See you.